Hey, everybody. This is Jynnette The Oracle. Welcome to Oracle Talks. I am joining you from the sunny California, as you can see. I am recording this message because I am not going to be able to do live stream on the day I normally would. So I want to make sure I get the message to you. Um, we have a very busy astrological month, but was feeling the pull to do a message around Uranus going direct in Taurus. As of the recording of this video, that already happened just a few days ago. So I'm well past the peak, fortunately, but the energy is just really intense because of all of the X-class solar flares going off. um, yeah, it's been an interesting week. But yeah, we will be playing with the sunlight, so I will attempt not to be blinded as the sun makes its way across at this later part of the day, but it's fine. Here we are. Quick announcements. If you have not already, check out the 2026 astrology planning workshop. I have that recording linked below in the description, as well as the 2026 spiritual New Year channeling. Both of those provide complementary perspectives on the year ahead. So I definitely recommend checking them out if you haven't already, or if you do already have those recordings, go back and see what messages came up and see how things are kind of playing out. In terms of availability for next week, I will have some, of course, that will get updated every Sunday as usual. But I am going to be going on a mini vacation, so much needed. So yeah, there won't be as much availability given that. So get in where you fit in. If it doesn't work, then God willing, I'll see you the weekend after or the week after. Okay. I believe that is it in terms of announcements that I have. So without further ado, let's get into the message. I already have the cards out. Um, this is actually my second time recording because I initially was going through and I'm like, wait, I'm missing something here. I can't approach this in the same way that I was doing the Neptune and Aries message. So I was like, let me stop, sit with this for a second, come back. So and now the message is actually landing and is more clear. So let me show you the primary cards, and I'll get into what these messages mean. So basically, as I was checking in with Spirit about this pull that's called to check in with Uranus on the tail end of this transit, it was really about getting messages, guidance, insight, etc. That is important for us to know right now in the last weeks, few months of Uranus's transit through Taurus on its way into Gemini, I believe in April. Okay, so that is the context. So the card that represents what we are to be focused on, what actually is the thing that is requiring our attention, that we're being asked to deal with, take action on, is the Six of Swords. So with this, after having sat with the energy a little bit more, this was very much about deciding on, clarifying, figuring out what the vision is, what the path is moving forward. Now, I know this has come up over the past few months in particular. It's interesting that it's coming up right now, right? Now, of course, obviously, again, tail end of the cycle coming into Gemini. But this is now, I want to say, at least the third time it's come up in the past few months, specifically about figuring out what is next. So if this, specific to the transit itself, but if this keeps coming up, this means that this is still something that has not actually solidified yet for enough of us for it to be coming up. Okay. It means that some part of the vision, if you notice, like 5 of the 6 swords are lit up, one is not. There's still some missing pieces, or at least a piece that is not there. And so, one of the things that we can make use of for the tail end of this Uranus through Taurus transit is to really dedicate time to that. Okay. And the action we have around this is the high priestess, which is the moon energy. It's an internal journey. It's not, um, I mean, it's not just going without, right? And I say that because the strategy to help with this, if needed, is the Lover's card. So this can talk about choices that are being made, right? The ideas that you may be coming up with, deciding, is this really what my soul is calling me to, or is this ego, that kind of thing. Or this could be checking in with community to get an outside perspective on whether or not what's coming through is actually for you and clear, true and clear. Not if it's good or bad, not if they agree with it, if they think you should or shouldn't do something. Like that's not what this is. It's as you speak and talk about the thing, does it actually feel aligned? Does it come across as aligned? And the past energy is the Fool card. Okay, so that was a, a new cycle that was begun, which of course could have been the Taurus cycle. So obviously over the past 8 years, it could have been like massive undertakings, risks that you took, etc. During that time. Obviously, a lot has happened over the past 8 years, probably compared to the previous 8 years for a lot of us. So there's that. But what's interesting is the Six of Swords is a Mercury card, right? So it is active in the mind of creating ideas and visions. But the High Priestess is Moon. So again, that internal space, and really having to be with that, be in communion with your soul, to sit with your soul, sit with the deep causal realm within, and allow that which is bubbling up to consciousness to become more readily available to you, to your knowledge. And that alone may be the biggest stretch, is to not be going about it by mental gymnastics, but instead via intuition. Okay. Now we are showing up. Now the sun's like literally right in my eyes. We are showing up as the King of Wands, Leo, the sun, right? We're showing up as the King of Wands. But what's interesting is this card, as it's in the spread, is facing away the opposite direction from the Six of Swords. So this tells me again that in general, because this message keeps coming up, that on some level we keep looking to the past to figure out what's next, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, this is just saying the considerations of the past to help determine, what this vision is, has already been taken into account. So it's saying that there's nothing to be found from looking back moving forward, right? Like you've actually done that good work of that record keeping, of tallying, of assessing what has been. So you've done that. There's not any stone left unturned. You're not forgetting anything. All of the considerations that you have are already in place in the mind. So it's basically like You've gone as far as you can go, and have done your due diligence because that's part of, your work, our work to do, to create enough context, awareness of, your situation, the world, your dreams, goals, etc. Like all that's there locked and loaded. But the missing piece now is, what is your own spirit telling you, your own soul telling you for what's next, because that is the piece. And again, since we're showing up as this turned away, even though we're sitting in full power, it's like all that energy and resources are not actually being directed to source. Now, the environment is Six of Pentacles, and that's where the Six of Swords is looking in the spread. It's looking to the environment, it's looking to the future, so to speak, or to like what's actually available. Six of Pentacles, of course, represents success. Okay. And it is success rather than victory. So it's not battle energy. Six of Swords comes after battle. Six of Pentacles is more about like success after a period of struggle with trying to make something happen. Like, so the workings of your own hand, your own efforts of the Five of Pentacles. Okay. Um, so this is a very abundant energy. It often gets relayed as abundance in addition to success. So this tells me that the energy is wide open. This is also a moon card, and it is moon in Taurus, if I remember correctly. Okay. But again, this is relaying more so as um, abundance. So this deeper awareness of what's available to light up that sixth sword and find that missing piece, your soul will be able to relay to you, because it is secret. It is available for you to know. It's hidden, but it is available for you to know. That is the key difference with the high priestess versus the moon. Spirit is showing up to protect us and to provide guidance and support as the Ace of Fire, Ace of Wands. So this is literally inspiration. This is literally catalytic energy, the light that is there. So whatever the thing is that what you feel is like that missing piece, or just like whatever the vision is, the path is, whatever is next is, like there's still something that's not there. It is available in the spirit. Uranus is telling you that specifically. And maybe that also is a difference with this message coming through now on this third iteration compared to before. Um, because I feel like before was more of like a kind of wait and see situation, and this feels like, okay, it's now here. It's now can be seen. Not to sound like immediately vanishing now. In the very recent past, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So we went from the Fool to the Ten of Pentacles. So again, like we ran the gamut during this transit of whatever it was related to, Uranus and Taurus, depends on your chart, etc. But you ran the gamut of experience, and it was important. You learned a lot. I'm hearing specifically wisdom and experience. Wisdom and experience for what you gained from this transit. And it wasn't ideological. It was like experience, wisdom about things because of the gamut that you went through, um, that we all went through for that particular period of time. And while it might feel extreme when you look back, you know, each year, but comparing 2018 to 2026 and see where you were there in the middle of the transit for Uranus through Taurus to now, did you come full circle? Are you at a higher or further, point? Like what all is there? It's been a journey, right? Yeah, but it's like, yeah, there's something else there. One of our strengths here is the 7 of Wands, okay? So this is one of the things that can help us. It can also be a hindrance because 7 of Wands, can be defensive. Um, it's about holding on to the victory, maintaining progress, but it also can be, um, interesting. I'm almost getting a 4 of Pentacles vibe with this, where interesting. Yeah. I'm almost getting a four of Pentacles vibe with this to connect to that message that was coming through with the King of Wands about how we keep looking to the past, where you're like, on some level, whatever this is related to, it could be one thing or many things. We're doing the thing of, well, I did this, I accomplished this, so I have to hold on to this. Meaning like whatever is next has to like literally um give me the same, or has to be approached the same way, or what have you. It's like I found success in the actions, the way I did things, the relationships I had, etc. And um I want to hold on and grip to those same things moving forward. But it's like you also still need to be open and available to new things, new learnings, especially if we're coming into Uranus in Gemini. Um, and this is fixed fire, even though it's like creative and everything, but it is fixed fire. It can be really set in its ways. So that is something that we have to watch. Again, it's an issue because it's coming up. So it's something that we do need to be aware of. The deep past, we have the King of Pentacles. So yeah, it's a lot of strong, balanced pentacle energy here. The heart of the matter, we have the Death card, another major arcana. The Death card is literally the release, the release of the old. But the Death card also talks about transformation, transmutation, digestion. Okay. And if this is the heart of the matter, it's just like the looking back has to stop. Again, not because looking back has no value, or that what happened in the past doesn't matter. As I already mentioned, it does. It's just that feeling that you have, that we have within, of things haven't quite set into place for what's of where we want to go, where our point B is happening because we're choosing not to really sit with this. This may be really hard to do because it requires a lot of quiet sitting, quiet contemplation, a lot of doing nothing on the surface, but it's actually very purposeful and intentional. Like you have to purposefully sit with yourself, with your own soul, whether it's journaling, meditation, working with the cards, going into records, what have you, and just saying, you know what's there, what's coming up, what's next, what do you want to explore next, what's the new rainbow that is forming, and the pot of gold that we're gonna go towards now that we've gained the pot of gold over the past 8 years of wisdom and experience. And in doing so, help me to be open to the new that you may be bringing to my consciousness. help me be open to starting over, but not necessarily. Oh, maybe that's the thing. Maybe folks don't want to start over or start from scratch. That's different than my previous message because it wasn't starting from scratch, but maybe that maybe that's what Uranus is trying to break folks out of. Because in tarot, Uranus is associated with the Tower card, so it's a liberatory energy. Usually it's in a context of like liberation from or intervention in a really tough circumstance. This isn't as harsh, obviously. It's six of swords, like it's fine. But this is available for us, right? So depending on your level of frustration, desire, what have you, for knowing what's next, and this is that message for you. All right, let me see if I can get a little bit before I lose all the light. It was so intense, and then like, yeah. Let's see if I can get a little more out. I like it. Let me know if this is resonating in the comments. Yeah, Uranus and Taurus is about physical life, right? So then what is it that we want in the physical? Maybe there's something in between where you are now and a longer term goal that you may have that may take like many, many years. And like that, the next stage and the in between hadn't actually been clear to you before. And now you've come to that point out of the beginning, initial stages, and like you hadn't seen this far. And now you're like, well, wait, what does this middle step look like? Right? What does this middle step look like? That may be it. It's an important step, the middle, the messy middle. And I know we want to do our best to kind of hedge our bets and optimize, if you will, or as I like to say, maximize our opportunities and minimize our obstacles, and the impacts of those over time. But like, yeah, it's like being in a video game that you can't ever um Wow. It's like being in a video game that you can't actually start over because starting over would mean like, you know, dying and having to reincarnate. So it's just like it's a pick your own adventure, but there's no take backs. All right, so I'm doing a mansion spread, and our path is the Five of Swords. And I'm cackling because I was literally just talking about the Five of Swords, right? Um, Actually, that might have been on the first recording. Inside joke if it is. If it was on the first recording and not on this one. But Five of Swords is that state right before the Six of Swords, right? It's the looking around, and I know this card came up recently, but yes, looking around and being like, okay, that happened. I either won or I lost, depending on the situation. But it's just like, yeah, battle's over. Um, and assessing the damage and figuring out where you want to take moving forward. Wow, after getting all those cards out, there's only two steps on this path. This one, the Two of Wands, and the Fool. And the Fool is 0, so there's no steps. And I know it's the message needs to come through because bottom of the deck is the Empress card. Some other sources bringing through this message very clear. Two of Wands and the Fool. So I'll relay what I'm feeling in my body. It's there feels like a lot of trepidation for starting over. And I can empathize and understand that, right? So it might be a situation where you're coming out of this Uranus in Taurus transit off of a layoff. There's been so much of that, especially specifically over the last, like the whole second half of the transit, which is kind of wild, but you know, talking about material resources. So that may have already have happened to you, or it may just now have happened. Um, and you're like, what do I do next? Right? Like look at the job market. How long do the resources that I have gonna last? Like, this could be death in the family. This could be new children, and it's a lot. You're like, how do I? What is this new stage? Like I thought I was prepared, and I am not prepared. Um, yeah, it's so many things, right? It could be new relationship you're starting, could be new business you're starting, um, or have started, or just all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot that's there. But yeah, the trepidation is because we are not wanting to. I'll take this as well because it's a collective message because this again keeps coming up, but Uranus is coming with it. So I'm gonna say this is the exclamation point on the topic. The the difficulty in being able to chart the path forward, I'll say, is because there is a refusal to accept that you're starting from zero with whatever the thing is, that thing or things are. um, that's new in your world. Obviously, everything is not necessarily going to be new for most, but it will be at least one thing that, shakes us to our core because it's Taurus, it's material world. So shelter, money, relationships, work, business, like these things that relate directly to our livelihood, our ability to live well, take care of ourselves. Like, this is it is survival stuff and also not. Um, this isn't necessarily like creative energy. Not that Taurus is not creative, but being able to live well, I'll put it this way. Taurus and Libra, of course, are ruled both by Venus, but our ability to fully flourish in the Libra energy, which is justice and arts, right, is built off of the foundation of a stable Taurus. So that's why it's not really so much the art piece. Although, if you are creative and the arts have not been something you've felt the flow with, you feel like there's a block or what have you, it's because a Taurus energy has been experiencing Uranus through its transit, right? So um, rest assured, it will be leaving soon, so that's good. But yeah, you are starting. You either have already been in a position of starting from scratch, if the Five of Swords experience has already happened, especially within the last few years, or if it's in the process of happening now, right? But we're starting from scratch. That is the gift, that is the abundance. But if we are refusing to accept that that is the case and not wanting to, quote unquote, start over, that's blocking us from being able to sit in that space of being open to perceive all that's being available, all that's being made available to us from our own spirit, right? Because again, the message, the action was the high priestess. So the call is coming from inside the house. It's actually not even ancestors. Like it's not spirit out there. Like it's like your soul. So since we have not been hearing it, it's because we're not wanting to start from scratch. So what are some ways that that can look like? That can look like, or can show up as, say if this is related to work, right? Being in a position where you are having to start at a lower level than what you most recently have been used to. And recently meaning like whatever the current or most recent job position was. So, maybe you were used to being a manager or supervisor of some sort, and now, whatever circumstances are, you're having to be managed. I'll put it that way. This could be having to deal with a pay cut, and having to go on a whole new trajectory. Um, it could be having to shift into a completely different industry and then deciding, like, okay, well, um, rather than thinking that this is kind of like a stopgap, what would it actually mean or look like to develop a career path in this new industry? And can I allow myself to even think about that? Or is there deep resistance, bitterness, even resentment, possibly around that? Right? Um, I'm debating if I want to get into relationships. I'm debating because Saturn is going to be going into Aries, and Saturn specifically has to deal with contracts, and I know there's going to be a lot of relationship that stuff that's coming up. So I may leave relationship stuff for Saturn messages. Um, but let me see if if an example comes through for relationships from Uranus. Okay, so if you are, I can give a safe one. So if you've come out of a long-term relationship or a very intense relationship, and you're having to start over and get back into the dating game, right? Um, and to actually date and go through the experience of, having coffee, having a lunch, um, without all the pressure of the interaction being, a business transaction. Can y'all just have a conversation? Do you even want to be in each other's presence? Do you like each other as people? Um, Obviously attraction is important, but even if you weren't attracted to one another, would you even be friends? Right? Um, Speaking of friends, this could be like, developing new friendship groups, new community, and like having to go through the process of like intentionally connecting and setting up time. I'm cackling because I can feel I can feel it. But the message is coming through for a reason. So these are examples of how we are behaving like the King of Pentacles and not looking forward and just being like, well, what happened before was great. Like, why can't we just keep going on with that? But like, no, change is the constant for one, but also two, if what was going on was the best, and the best meaning it was able to continually provide um, opportunities for growth and exploration and expanding experience, it would have stayed. Okay. If it has not survived, then it just couldn't hold up. Does not mean it was wrong or bad. It just couldn't hold up. And that necessarily means that there's something else to try, something else to explore. And these explorations aren't frivolous. Okay. Again, this is not, no shade to Libra energy, but this isn't Libra energy. This is still a Taurus message. So nothing about this is frivolous. Even with the Fool card energy, the Fool card is not frivolous. Like it's literally the setting out on a 21 card journey, right? Um, so it's like, when you're choosing to go on the journey, you're choosing to go on the journey. Um, Come hell or high water, right? So there's something frivolous about it. But it's also not heavy. This Two of Wands, I haven't been talking much about it, but I've been referencing it with the messages. This is about power, the power of our beliefs and how they can help us or hinder us in terms of our experience. Okay. So again, if you are believing in a way that is hindering you from being able to develop clarity, which is obviously has been an issue for us, um, that means that there's some belief system there that have to be addressed. More like yes. I just realized how dark it was getting. Um, but we have the power to change that. We have the power to decide how we come into the cycle because the new cycle is happening regardless of our feelings and emotions about it. Uranus is going to be making its way into Gemini regardless of our feelings about it. And it's going to take us on a journey, right? The fool's journey is going to take us through the whole gamut of experience through Gemini. And we'll talk about that later. But for right now, to intentionally walk that path, because to be clear, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Uranus. To be clear, especially thinking if we reference back to 2018 when Uranus shifted into Taurus out of Aries, um, remember how at that time coming into that transition into that ingress into this new sign, you were very clear, we were very clear about what it is that we wanted, what the path was, what it would look like. Okay, we didn't come into um, that year into this transit of Uranus and Taurus without any ideas of what we wanted. It actually was clear. It was certain. um, so you can actually come into that level of certainty here. But that level of certainty was a combination of your own good sense and wisdom and experience from the previous 8 years, yeah, as well as what your own spirit was relaying to you, as well as, spirit in general, but your own spirit was being really clear, like as ideas, inspiration was coming up of like, okay, yes, go this direction, or yes, do this, or this feels good. Like we know what that feels like. Okay. Now I will say this because it's coming up again. The that lovers card from the first spread. One of the things that can help with this is being with community, friends, family, whatever, not necessarily to talk about the future, but just to be around them. So this message is for those who may inadvertently be or have been isolating a bit. I know it's winter for folks here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're just past the holidays. I'm sure folks are trying to recharge their social batteries and all the things. Um, yeah, but that may be helpful just to be around new energy. Um, Regardless of topics that are being discussed, it may just help kind of lift the fog or help to get you out of your own mental constructs and free you up a bit more to receive. So that's for some of you, again, where you may have been too isolated. I'm saying isolated, not in the sense of like you never around anyone, because unless you like never leave the house, we're always around people. Okay. You're around people at work, going to the grocery store, like we're always around people. but it's the Lovers card that was showing up. So it's like your people, your community, the ones that kind of light you up and hopefully light you up. If you don't, then get some new friends. But yeah, that is actually really funny that these two cards came out. Let me see if there's anything else. Otherwise, um, we'll call it a day with this. That's actually that's hilarious that only these two cards came out. Yeah, the beliefs got to do a lot of work around that. We got to do a lot of work around that. Lean more towards asking yourself, what are other options if you find yourself ruminating on the past? That Two of Wands is very much feeling like a block in the high heart. So I was getting some clarification. I got the Eight of Cups with the Six of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Cups talks about like moving on emotionally, and I was just talking about like the high heart. So, and again, this Moon energy here, and this is a Cups card. I think it's the first Cups card that came up, but everything else in the previous spread was Moon. So, and then of course we have the Mother Source there at the bottom, the Empress. So yeah, I think this is there's a lot of emotion tied up with those beliefs that are keeping you blocked, that are keeping your mind in no, or keeping your mind looking to the past. It's interesting because there's no Five of Cups, or Six of Cups, which talk specifically about nostalgia. Um, but it really is a mindset, a belief system that has the emotional body or the heart. I think it's actually more the heart than the emotional body, that has the heart um, constrained. Interesting. Of course, this is difficult though, because Taurus is a fixed sign. It's hard to get Taurus or any fixed sign to, well, I wouldn't say any because some are easier than others, but Taurus in particular, it's really hard to get it to move. Like getting a bull to move, shift directions, um, is a Herculean task. Like it moves when it's ready to move, similar to Scorpio. And we already had the Scorpio energy come out with the death card. That is like what I tell Scorpio often is, things are only going to change when you decide they're going to change. And I literally never tell any other sign that except for Scorpio because they hold so much power and so much control. And it's just like, because they know what's up. And Taurus is the complementary sign, like, you know what's up. So yeah, now all the cups are coming out, 7 of Cups and the 4 of Cups, 3 in between. And then we have this Libra energy. Yep. Underneath that, we have the star, Aquarius. Yep. Maybe something hasn't been used up yet. Or there's a spark within that hasn't been noticed for a while. Maybe you've forgotten. Now it's getting so dark. I love that this is the situation for this message because, as I was saying, like Uranus through Taurus has been taking us through the entire gamut, and it's been the entire gamut for this recording for the light. And now that it's getting dark, now we're getting to it, right? 7 of Cups can talk about illusion, but it also talks about seeing all the options available to you and choosing. The 4 of Cups is apathy. It's like, well, I tried these couple things and it didn't work, or these aren't really what I want, but there's still 1 cup left, and not even wanting to address it, right? It's interesting that we have Libra here on the bottom, because what I'm getting is almost a sense of like you had this feeling, or we had this sense or feeling that whatever this stuff was that didn't quite work out, or maybe only partially, or just not at all, we thought was really for us and was supposed to happen. And it impacted our ability to be willing, open, etc., to dream again, to try again, because there was a certain level of certainty. Oh gosh, I'm getting heartbreak. That's yeah. On this card, we have the 3 swords lit up. The other 2 are not lit up. The 5 of Swords. It's heartbreak. So whatever it is, could be one thing or a few things that happened. But invariably, it is some kind of lost, whatever it is, because it's heartbreak. There was a certainty that, like, yes, this is going to work out. Yes, this is mine. Yes, this is perfect, etc. And it did not, or it was going well, and then it didn't by the end, and it broke your heart. And your heart is like, what's the point of not even it's not even a what's the point of trying again. It's just like, if I try again, there is the possibility and a probability logically, that I will experience heartbreak again, and I don't want to. I'm resistant to that, even though I may know logically, but my belief system is like, nah, because I don't feel like I got justice around the thing because it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out or how it felt when it hit my spirit, or I expected it to last. And so I feel like the rug got pulled out from under me. I'm not sure I want to trust again on something that is close to heart, something that really means a lot to me. So this is the high priestess, the moon energy, that you need to be sitting with is bring the honesty of that to your own soul. Not to placate, but like you actually got to be real about it. Be real about your thoughts about it. Because again, this heartbreak is not just emotion, it's like it's betrayal, it's lack of justice, it's contract not fulfilled fully to the terms of the agreement. So, star card underneath that talks about healing often, but it's also the air sign after Libra. So, there is still something after Libra, and it is bigger and more expansive. I mean, literally like galactic. This is like the sky, and this is interstellar. So, it's just like, can you see that though? Right? Or is only this, you see him looking down being the past, only where you're focused due to the heartbreak? Since this Libra energy has come up twice now, from my mentioning as well as the card, maybe something that can help if you feel called to it is to clear the cords, clear the contracts formally. Maybe create a ritual over a few weeks, maybe over the last, few weeks of this transit of Uranus to Taurus. But clearing those cords, clearing the contracts formally with the things that you are heartbroken about. If you need help with that, if that's something that really speaks to you and calls to you with that, I do have two available resources depending on, your situation and what you feel you need to help you with this process of clearing. One is the Accelerating Ascension audio tracks, which specifically help to heal, restore, and clear the first four chakras, obviously includes the heart, and the first four layers of the aura. I'll have that in the link below once I'm done recording. That's something that you can engage with on your own as often as you need. Each of those tracks is an hour, so it's really, really potent energy. And it is something that I include for those who participate in the Lightworker Incubator. They get access to that tracks as part of the program, but you also can access those outside of it. The other option is, and I actually haven't done these in a while, but I do also do energy work. I will also include booking link below. So starting from Sunday, you can check the availability and see if that's something that you want to do. And we can do some specific cord cutting. And if there's other guidance that comes through around continual maintenance of that fire of the clearing over time, and developing like a really simple ritual for you to do. We can talk about that as well in that session, depending on what comes up. Or do your own practices. But, you know, if you, like I said, if you want support from over here, those are two ways that you can get that support. So I'll have that info below since that just came through right now. That's available for you if you need it, if you don't have other resources available to help you with that. Okay. But that really might be a helpful thing to do, because it's, when I tapped into that, like it was specifically like right here. So it is right at the high heart. So it's not throat, it's not heart. It was right here. And it was pain. And that the 3 cups is the high heart for me, as well as the 3 of swords. But yeah, that will then open up the whatever that last blockage is to being able to receive the clarity directly from the soul, from the causal realm, and be able to sit fully in that moon energy, high priestess energy, and relay, communicate with ease. And then you'll be able to do the 6 of swords work, and you'll find out what that one thing is. Let me show you these cards, because it was literally like telling the story as I was saying the words and then looking at the cards. I'm like, oh my gosh. So healing, clearing the cords, the contracts that didn't work out, so they don't hold you up anymore. It's that 10 of swords, getting rid of them to open up access to the high heart, to then give you access to the 2 of swords, which is the moon energy, your intuition, talking with spirit. And again, it's a combination of your wisdom and experience and knowledge and that missing piece, right? Then we can get to the 6 of swords finally. And then clarity on that desire. And this is earth energy. So it's like, okay, now we got it. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that energy is strong. That, you know what, that's also probably why the death card came up as the heart of the issue in the first spread. Because that's literally like, yeah, like that block, that energy needs to die as well. But also like having to address and to get to the unseen that is impacting us in a way that we might not consciously understand. But now we do understand. Now we are equipped with the knowledge. So, all right, let me get a closing card. Thank you to Uranus for these really powerful and potent messages. I deeply appreciate them. I also will be taking them to heart, because the message is for all of us, myself included, because we all lived through Uranus and Taurus, and it definitely has been an experience of these last 8 years, right? Ace of Swords, Seven of Swords, Ace of Wands at the bottom. Oh, I believe Seven of Swords is Moon in Aquarius, right? Of course. It's interesting. There's some really important insights that came through and knowledge, right? And I think this is important too, of like understanding when you have situations where like this, where things seem to not be clear and you seem to be kind of like going in circles, like these swords are in the circles here. This shadow, this hidden element, which is not a negative thing, it's just a hidden component that um, you know of, but just hadn't been aware of until you literally looked at it. Because when do we actually like turn and look at our shadow? um, I almost like hate that we associate shadow with um, like the parts of ourselves that are negative or what have you, rather than like things to consider that we just kind of pushed out of sight, out of mind, right? So I might need to just find a better, or not better, a different word for it. Um, but yeah, it's just like, oh, this is in play, and it's not that I can get rid of this. I actually just need to understand what this is that I didn't know was actually impacting me. And then I'll be able to move forward and gain clarity and access and be able to look again forward rather than be looking at this thing that is playing out and impacting me and feeling like I don't have a way to escape it. I'm sitting with more about what the a little shadow is, how that occurs, and there's literally something that is standing in front of a light source, right? And you, the object standing in front of the light source, is absorbing all the light, and that which is directly behind it is the shadow. There's light everywhere else because the object isn't absorbing the light there. You aren't absorbing the light there, but you've absorbed everything that has come your way, and anything that was not uh and there's nothing else that's left to be able to show it's shadow. But you absorbed everything that was available, and the focus is on the shadow rather than the fact that there's light spread everywhere that's available to be absorbed if we so choose. But the shadow is always going to be there wherever we are. And the bigger we are, the more we take up space, the more light we absorbed, the bigger the shadow is. That's a life well lived. because you're using up everything that is coming to you. You're using up everything that's coming to you. This is the imprint that you were there. You lived. You had an impact. You tried when others didn't, when others couldn't, when others talked themselves out of it. You showed up. You fully engaged with the roller coaster ride. Give thanks. And there's more. There's a lot more. Obviously, there's a lot of light. There's a lot more. Sky and Interstellar, right? All right, beautiful message. Give thanks to Mother, Father, Source, Seraphim and Cherubim and Archangels of Light, Uranus, Elevated Beneficial Ancestor, and the spirits of the directions and spirits of the elements for creating this sacred space and helping relay these messages in a way that can clearly be understood and received. All right, y'all. I hope that blessed you. I know it did because it blessed me. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Like the video if you would like. Comment below, of course. And please do share it with any and all who you believe would benefit from it. Let's make the most of this time that we have with Uranus in Taurus for these last couple months. For the most part in our lifetime, we're not going to actually see Uranus come back to the stage unless we really live for a long time, because it's an 84-year transit through the whole zodiac. So yeah, don't rush through this. This is, for all intents and purposes, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And I know that things worldwide are running the full gamut, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, so give thanks. Thanks to God. All right, God willing, I will see y'all next time. Bye.